everyone, it's Christina of CraftyPaws. I'm here to share a process video on how I created this Star Wars themed birthday card for my hubby, Mr. CraftyPaws. I hope you enjoy the process. So I'm going to make a galaxy background on this plain white cardstock. I cut it down to about 6 inches and I left the full length because I'm not sure if I want to make like a trifold card or just a standard kind of A2 size card. So this will give me some flexibility. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Ink in picked raspberry, peacock feathers, tumbled glass, and then finally black soot. So this is going to look a little crazy initially, but I think I just want to get some vibrant colors on here. And I'm not worried about how smooth this color application is because a lot of it is going to get covered up with the black soot at the end because I want this to be a, deep in space kind of galaxy. And I'm doing a fairly light touch because I found that actually gives me a deeper, more vibrant color than if I really push down hard on the blending tool. I'm going to take some peacock feather. And you see where the peacock feather and the picked raspberry are meeting. It's almost turning kind of purpley, which I think is pretty too. And I'm going to do a kind of background application of tumbled glass. And of course, this is lighter than the peacock feather, but it'll look more continuous. And most of this will get covered up with black soot over top, but there's a kind of an undertone of all of these colors that shows through the black soot. So I want to be careful not to skip steps here. I've sped up this part of the process to 8 times normal speed, just so that you don't have to see me putting on coat after coat of this black soot. But as you can see, I'm trying to get a fairly even coating all around while leaving some of the picked raspberry, the tumbled glass, and the peacock feathers still visible. If you look at lots of pictures of galaxies online, you'll see there are so many different permutations, and all of them are unique, and that's what I love about this process. There are no mistakes. I find that VersaFine ink is a little bit darker than black soot, so I'm going to just take my blending tool and hit the edges where I want it to be extra deep dark. And I don't know if it's going to come across in the video, but it's definitely a richer black. Yeah, you can already see the difference between this black and this black over here. And I just want to make sure that I get a nice deep space kind of black, especially along the edges. And you'll notice that I'm doing all of this before I've even determined where I'm going to have the scored and folded parts of the card. That gives the ink blending a much smoother look. I'm feeling like this is a little bit too light here, so I'm just going to hit the edges. I think having dark edges along a card gives the card a more finished look overall. Now for the stars, I'm going to take just like a plain acrylic block and some Copic opaque white and dab a little bit on here. Water it down a little. And I'm going to just take a brush. It's been wet and so it's diluted. And just sprinkle on the tiny white specks, which look like stars in the sky. And there's your galaxy. I want an even more mottled look, so I'm just going to take some plain water in this spritzer bottle and I'm going to try and do a really high up, so about 20 inches above I'm going to spray. This is the water bottle. It's just an inexpensive one from the Dollar Tree. And you'll see a slightly mottled more look there. And there's some big drops that dropped, but luckily they dropped actually in the lighter areas, so I actually don't mind that look. And yeah, I think that adds a lot of visual texture to that galaxy. So I've let this fully dry for a day, And I'm going to take my powder tool, just in case there's any moisture. And I'm taking this neat and tangled stamp set called A Long Time Ago, and I'm going to use this stamp here, A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, in that Star Wars kind of receding font. And then at the bottom, I'm going to write You Were Born, because this is going to be for a birthday card. Now I'm just positioning the sentiments. I want the main sentiment to be about a third of the way down, and then the rest at the middle point. Now I'm using Versamark ink to ink up the sentiments, and I'm going to press that down nice and firm. Take a coffee filter to catch my excess, and I'm using white superfine detail Ranger embossing powder. Catch my excess and pour it back into the jar. Now I'm a little neurotic about extra flecks of embossing powder, so I'm brushing that off with a dry paintbrush before I heat emboss it, even though those flecks could look like stars at the end of the day. And it comes out beautifully clean, very crisp and clear. I'm going to take a Clear Star Jelly Roll pen and do some just straight lines using a ruler. To mimic the hyperdrive, those lines that go toward an endpoint in space travel, I'm just using the center point of that main sentiment as my horizon line point and haphazardly doing kind of dash lines. And you can't really see it too clearly in the video just because it is Clear Star kind of glittery, shimmery gel pen. But in real life, it looks really cool, shimmery, golden, as if you're really traveling through space toward that point of that sentiment. I really like how it mimics that hyperdrive traveling in Star Wars. The last little part here is just gluing down my images. If you're interested in where I got these little Star Wars characters, please check out the immediately preceding YouTube video. I show how I alter a MFT stamp to make the little Ewok and how I doodle the Chewbacca and the Yoda. And all my Copic colors are listed in the accompanying blog post. I printed out these sentiments on my printer using a Star Wars font, and I will put a link in the description box below to my blog post where I will have the link to this free font. I love that it mimics the original Star Wars font, and this is a quote from Yoda. And this is something that I thought Chewie and a little Ewok could be saying. I'm putting little dots of art glitter glue behind the letters just to make sure that this vellum stays nice and secure on the card. I wished I had smeared the little dots because they do show up behind the vellum, but it's not too distracting. So it is what it is. This is the finished birthday card. The first part says, "A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you were born." And I love how there's that shimmer as if, you're in a spaceship flying toward these letters, very reminiscent of the original Star Wars opening scene. And then you open it up, and there's Chewie and a little Ewok with a present that says, "Happy birthday, may the 40s be with you," rather than the Force. And then the last quote is from Yoda, and it says, "When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not. Hmm?" And that's my finished card. I hope you've enjoyed the process video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a wonderful crafty day.